Substitute humans. That's one reason your healing process is so important. So, what do I mean by a substitute human? What I mean is that we all have what I like to call incompletions. We have things that are emotionally incomplete in our psychological, emotional makeup. For example, we never got what we needed from mom or dad. We never got the love and loyalty that we needed from friends. But usually it starts with mom and dad. And so what we do is we go out looking for substitute humans. And we are trying to find somebody who is going to give us this thing that we feel that we lack. Again, usually from our early childhood, from our parents. For example, I'll give you one of mine. My dad left when I was around 4 or 5 years old. And in doing some of my inner work recently, I was meditating and doing energy work on myself. And what I saw was really interesting. And that was that I never was able to sit in my dad's lap to the point where I got bored and wanted to jump down. So I never even thought about this before, but you know, when a little kid comes up to mom or dad, and wants to cuddle, wants to snuggle, wants to sit on their lap, it's the kind of thing like they want to do that, and then they get into it for a while, and then after a certain point, you know, it's like you start feeling claustrophobic or something. You want to run around, you want to go do something else. And so, like, you've gotten what you needed, and then you jump down and you go run around and you're a kid. And so ideally for children, and it's never going to happen 100% of the time, but ideally, when you're a little kid, whenever you want to come and sit on mom or dad's lap, or grandma, grandpa, whoever, number one, you want to not be rejected. All right? If you're rejected, that might cause some ongoing long-term issues. And number two, you want to be, you want to be able to be there as long as possible, as long as you need to. So also not be rejected. And then number three, you want to be able to run away. You want to be able to cut the contact when you want to cut it. You know, kids are kind of selfish. They want what they want. And so, for example, if your mom or your dad is like, no, stay here longer, don't go, then you might develop other issues of having a clingy parent where you feel claustrophobic, you feel smothered. So what I realized was that I was never able to sit on my dad's lap as long as I wanted to. You know, I could just, whatever, I'll spare you the details of how I came up with it, whatever, but it was an energy healing kind of thing that I was doing on myself. I do a lot of self-healing. I always say I am my primary client. And the moment that stops, then I'm no good to anybody. There's always something to handle, not as a big problem, but, you see certain reactions come up. You're like, where does that come from? And then you do a little work and you get to the core of it. And I realized that there was this deep yearning. But also with my dad's approach, there was a kind of like, you're a big boy, you don't need this crap, And the last time I saw my dad before he died, I went to give him a hug. And I hadn't seen him for probably 5 years before that, maybe more. And he did that kind of thing like, oh, well, you're grown up now and whatever. And it was like, his wife just was like, give him a hug, like, quit being ridiculous, dude. And, it was just kind of clownish at that point. So I got my hug, and, but the thing is, it left this kind of yearning inside. And that yearning was something that had me gravitating to other people that would actually just replicate the situation. That's what's funny. When you try to get these substitute humans, what you're doing is you're trying to get somebody who will give you that thing that you never got. But what ends up happening is you end up replicating the same issue with a different person. And so in a way that's really good because, and it's not like I manifested a bunch of dudes that I couldn't sit on their lap long enough, in case you're wondering. That's not how it played out. But anyway, but kind of a certain emotional coldness, dislocation, discomfort that my dad had was something that I manifested in friends, in mentors, whatever. That feeling that I just can never get that thing, whatever. And there's always this dissatisfaction. And the thing is, you're never going to find that person who solves the problem for you. Because you're more likely, and if you do, then there's a good chance that they're going to use that as leverage to get something based on their need profile. So what happens is, your mom wasn't XYZ, so then your wife ends up replicating the same thing. And really, it's kind of a brilliant evolutionary thing, which forces you that if you're really going to heal the issue to the core, you have to do it yourself. And there are no humans that can substitute for what's missing. You're the human. You're the person that needs to be a complete person. And so you're never going to find that person that completes you because that doesn't exist. And even if it did exist, think of it as just like, I have 75 cents and I want to have $1. And I find another person, well, if I want to get 25 cents off of them, they need to diminish themselves. So in my analogy, imagine nobody has more than $1. Okay? There's no such thing as more than $1. Okay? So if they have 95 cents and I have 75 cents, and then I'll get my 25 cents from them and then I'll be complete. Well, then I've just diminished them. And once I've diminished them, I might find that I have no more use for them. But generally, it doesn't work that way. Generally, the way it works is you just replicate the same drama with a different person. We've all seen it in relationship patterns and patterns of disappointment in friendships and family, whatever. So the issue is that we need to quit looking to other people to fill that gap. Nobody's ever going to fill the gap for you. It's never going to happen. And when you realize that, that's a really good thing. Nobody, there's not going to be a scenario where I'm going to go sit on somebody's lap as long as I need to, and then it's going to be like, oh, all my daddy issues are gone because I sat on somebody's lap, Nah, not going to work. And it's not going to work to find a certain person that has a certain quality that they can give me, No. I have to heal from the pain, from the dislocation, from the rejection, from, the emotional disconnection that my dad kind of passed on to me. And I need to be complete myself. And nobody will ever give that to me, and nobody will ever give that to you. You're not going to get it in your love relationships. You're not going to get it from bosses or mentors. You're not going to get it from friends. The good news, though, is that there is a thing called your authentic self. And your authentic self isn't missing any pieces. Okay, your conditioned self, your human conditioning, has all kinds of crap that, you're never going to heal every single little piece of that. We will be flawed to some degree to the very end as humans. We can get really close. It's like somebody said to me a long time ago when I was a kid, and it kind of blew my mind. I was standing a couple feet from a wall, and they said, if you go halfway to that wall, and then halfway to that wall again, and then halfway to that wall again, and then halfway, and then halfway, and then halfway, you will never get to the wall. Ever. And that blew my mind, but it's true. And that's the same with the idea of being good enough, or excuse me, healing all of your issues completely or whatever. It's not even about that. It's about changing the identity to the bigger identity, to the soul, higher self level and beyond. And allowing the human you to be flawed and sometimes sad and sometimes feeling rejected, abandoned, whatever, and you loving that part of you, and you not continuing the rejection drama. So anyway, something to think about. If you'd like help doing some of this, working on your version of these things, I'm here to help. I can do a phone session with you no matter where you are in the world. Or if you're in Southern California, I can see you in person. I'm located in Hollywood. Find out more information at andysway.com or shoot me an email at andysway@yahoo.com. And thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And hope to talk to you soon. Bye.